I will.
Hello and welcome to UTB Blogcast number 64. This is Erica, and with me tonight is Brad, Dave, and Alpha. Say hello, boys.
Hello,
boys.
I said hello, boys, last time, so I'm not doing it. Don't!
It's a running joke. You're supposed to do it every time, or else it just seems stupid.
Okay.
Anyway.
She just called you stupid, Dave.
Not the first.
Let's start out with some news on the BlackBerry fan front, and with the end of the Fan of the Month. So,
yeah.
Go ahead, Brad.
Not the first.
No, I'm just upset that I never got it.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are feeling that way.
Well, you got something of the month. It just wasn't fan.
No, the fan of the month was another one of those great ideas that could really put the brand out there that I think was trashed almost instantly. Because I mean, like I never actually entered, I guess you would say. You know, they put out, hey, say this week, say this, whatever. And I never really did it. But I did go back and I did read every time that they announced somebody and the different people. I would search it out, and you would get some really good comments in there. But oh man, there was a lot of people that were just like trashing and angry. I can't believe I didn't get it when I did all this. How could you do that? I remember it was one of the early ones. There was one guy that was on a rampage. I mean, just like pages of him tweeting John Chen about how horrible he was, that he had given so much to this and he didn't get it. That just kind of takes the fun out of it. It really does.
Yeah, it's supposed to be all about good sportsmanship on that level.
Yeah, not cool. But like anything in social media, unfortunately, you have to take the chaff with some of the grain, and
yeah,
I don't know. It's just really sad that there's people who live in mom's basement and have got nothing better to do than to make somebody else look bad or try to or something. It's go see a psychologist. Need some help. Oh well.
Mom's basement is getting pretty full with all the people living down there.
Well,
some of them left the basement to go mow lawns.
There's lots of moms out there.
Yeah,
lots of basements.
So let me ask, Chen's announcement of the end of Fan of the Month, he kind of inclined his head to say that there might be something more coming. I think his actual words were "stay tuned."
Stay tuned. And there's been kind of two different ways of looking at it. The way I looked at it is, okay, something else is coming, right? You know, Fan of the Month is done. I think it did everything it could do personally. And then he said, stay tuned. I kind of took that to mean stay tuned to see what's coming next. But some people have taken it to mean that stay tuned for this month's winner. And they could very well be right. I really don't know. I don't know.
Well, if it's stay tuned for what's next, I wouldn't have a clue what they would replace that contest style of engagement with. You know, I don't know. I thought it was a good idea, and like you say, I guess it ran its course, or it sounds like it did. I really don't. I'm not in marketing or advertising, obviously, so I really wouldn't know what to replace it with. That got me. I thought it was a pretty good idea.
My father in our chat is guessing multiple fans of the month is coming next.
Multiple fans.
Instead of fan of the month, you have fans of the month.
Oh, that would be cool.
That would be really cool. I don't know.
I also think at the same time though that maybe BlackBerry stopped the fan of the month thing because of they're no longer just building or designing handsets. So maybe that could have been one of the reasons why he's stopping it, and he said stay tuned until they get more manufacturers on board to build handsets, and then they'll restart it again.
Well, I don't know. That seeing as how they're sort of, not getting out of hardware, but so I guess maybe that includes fans. I don't know.
Maybe there'll be something a lot more regional in nature. I don't know. I mean, if you look at BlackBerry, really is in a transition state right now. If you look at where we were a few short months ago and where we all know we're headed, we're really in a transitional state right now. And maybe that's just kind of the issue that, this is something that isn't going to translate well from where they were to where they're going, especially with, you look at it, you've got the first new device that is going to come, from these new deals. It's going to be a regional phone. We know that. It's going to be in Indonesia. We know who the manufacturer is going to be. It's like, is that really something that someone in the US is going to be winning, or someone in, India is going to be winning? I don't know.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about how that would all hash out too, because as much as it's an interesting, first foray into regionalized licensing deals, you're really only in this one small place. Small, that's a relative term. It's big for BlackBerry there, so. But it's isolated. It's an interesting thought pattern.
Do we have any more on fan of the month? That just kind of died. The I My Father, I laughed a little bit. He said maybe Chin doesn't want to give a brand new device for free. He's trying to make all the money he can get.
All right.
Well, we had our own version of Fan of the Month this past month, and we had a winner that got some free swag from us.
We did, and finally contacted him today, and he informed me that he already has some stickers and 2 of our cups already. I don't know how he got 2 cups. New collector. I remember that he was an MVP. I don't know how he got the other cup. So he's putting his cup back on the line for somebody else to win. He's going to get the pins and the stickers and whatnot. But
well, you know what? He could actually take all this extra swag, which isn't extra, and spread it around.
Yeah,
spread the news, man.
Share the UTB love.
Yeah, share some local love, or whatever he wants. But anyway,
well,
congratulations
for winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thanks for sharing with the rest of us.
Yeah, thanks for being an awesome participant in our forums.
Yeah, so let's call it here. Let's do it now and save us from posting it again, which we'll need to post it again because not everybody watches these things. But let's do it again for the month of November. Top poster in the forums, quality posts. We'll get back, grab bag number 2. Which is the same as grab bag number 1 minus the bag, because there is no bag to put the grab bag in.
That'll be yes, sir, 2 bags.
I don't think anybody got my humor on that first post because I kept calling it a grab bag and then like in parentheses, bag not included. Nobody got that. I thought that was funny. I thought it was witty. Kind of makes me want to go out and get a bag now.
Well, yeah. Then we could say Papa's got a brand new one or something.
You guys are being quiet today.
It has been a long week in the real world for me. The real world has not been kind to Brad this week. And that's pretty much why I have been kind of non-existent in the more important, in the world of UTB this week. I'm going to try and get back into the swing this coming week, but it has just been fierce and ugly for me. But you know what? Since Ian Torch is in here right now in our comments, here's an example where I can say that we're different from the other guys, right? Because I really, we've always wanted to kind of form a community here at UTB, right?
Yes.
And here's one of those cases where we can just kind of show it, because he pops up the I, my father, and you call him Ian, and I'm like, Torch, I think that really among all of us, we know the community a lot. Like, we don't consider ourselves above, should I put it that way? Like, I know there's other sites that, they're readers, why take the time to figure out who they are? But like, I remember Ian and Dave, I know you were part of that first group too. I know Ian was part of our first BBM group. That's how I know him. And it's been a long time since I've really seen him around, and I'm really glad to see him here now. But I mean, I know that he was around in, I think, our initial BBM group, wasn't he? Answer, Ian. I think you were. The I Choose BlackBerry 10 group.
That was a big group. I don't know what the hell the number peaked at, but it was big.
I think that just goes to show that UTB is still the #1 site for BlackBerry fans.
I'm just saying, like, when I look through channels and I look through communities, I recognize people. When I get on Twitter, like, I recognize them, and I know where we first kind of stumbled across people. And I don't know. I kind of think that's important. And I know Dave does too. I know that we talk about people. I know we remember people from that other place that we all came from.
Is this reading one of those graphics across the screen that says UTB cares?
Well, Ian and I actually we actually meet up every now and then to trade devices and just chat and talk about gadgets in general. So I believe I met Ian through Twitter, and then from there we met up in person and would trading BlackBerry phones and trading devices and just talking in general. He's a pretty cool guy. He's a pretty cool guy. Definitely a pretty cool guy.
Awesome.
So now that we got totally off track, Erica, where were we?
Well, since we're talking about the different things that UTB does for the community, why don't we talk about one of the newest, most popular videos we have on our YouTube channel?
Oh, yeah.
From our own Dave.
Wait, let me jump in real quick. I'm really, really pushing for more multimedia, right? Like, like you guys know, I'm begging for videos. I'm begging for this stuff. And, like, I posted my little video of my new Alexa device, and I got like 20 hits, 20 people viewing it, maybe a little more than that now. So Dave comes along and he posts something nobody cares about, the new DTEC 60, comparing it to the Priv. And damn, Dave.
Well, I know it's a small number in the scheme of things, but for me/us or whatever, it's kind of a surprise to see it grow by the hundreds every day. So thanks everybody for linking or relinking or searching or however you're finding it. It was fun to do, and I know that I fumbled through it and need to do some more, so just so that it's like second nature. But there will be more coming. Next, not the next one, but one of the ones in the pipe is going to be comparing speakers in the phones I've got.
I really want to see you compare it to the Passport. I really do, just for all those people on the channel that are, BB10 only, Android, blah, 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 the ones that go back and forth. I'd love to see, and I know that you can't compare thing for thing because they are different, but it would be nice to just see a few of the differences there. And I'm taking the activity on your video as to be kind of a gauge for us, because, you know, I mean, we know the kind of traffic that we get, and we know over the last couple of weeks, we've all been busy and that traffic has dipped. It really has. You know, we went from having 7 to 8 posts a day to having 2 or 3 posts a day, which kills me. But when that happens, your traffic's going to dip. It's going to. It's to be expected, and we're not concerned about it. But the traffic on your video is not the traffic we're getting on that post. Your video is on YouTube and it's DTech 60, you know, compared to the Priv, and people are searching that out. You know, they're not all coming from the site. They're not all coming from the channel. People are searching for that. People are interested in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, like all things new, that's to be expected. And I think now that a lot of people in the community have experienced the Priv and the DTech 50 for that matter, and for those who are on Passports and Z30s and Classics and what have you, they're looking at options, and, you know, the Priv is still an option. And you know, for a new retail phone, I'm talking about, and of course the DTech 60 is the newest kid on the block with you know, flagship specs. So it's kind of an expected. I shouldn't have been surprised, maybe. I guess is what I'm saying, that people were seeking that information out, because, you know, the cycle happens. People, you know, busted their Z30, or something happened, or it's their time to get an upgrade and they're on a Passport that was from 2014 or whatever the case may be, and they want to experience what BlackBerry can offer them with all the apps on a new platform. Then those are the two things that they're going to seek out. They're going to look for those two things. So I guess it shouldn't be a surprise if you put them both side by side that more people want to watch it, I guess. I'm guessing. I shouldn't be surprised, I guess. So anyway, could have been a little more thorough, but
that just leaves room for more videos.
Yeah, like I say, I'll do one on some speakers, and maybe I'll take Brad up on his offer that was suggested in the comments for the video on YouTube, to do a Passport and DTech comparison. So sounds like a good idea. And it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
Okay, then.
Well, I only got really one more thing to talk about tonight, and that is the new deal between BlackBerry and Ford.
Well, what's funny is when they announced that, I myself, and I think a whole pile of other people went, so what? It was like last year or a year and a half ago or whatever that Ford said, you know, naff off to Microsoft.
Yep.
And their Sync 2 stuff, which they should have named Stink 2 or something, because lots of people were complaining about it. It was sluggish and not responsive and whatnot. And QNX went in there and said, come on, you know we could do this better. Try this. And Ford went wholesale shift and said, yeah, Sync 3 is all about being based on QNX, which obviously was a good idea because people aren't complaining. And so for it to be announced as, you know, a first, I guess, that was kind of the way it was announced, as the first, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was announced as a first. And that
and so that's kind of sounded
John pull the post. I had John pull the post and change the title from our own site as I was looking on. I was like, this is not the first deal with Ford. You know, it's not the first major deal, and it's definitely not the first deal with Ford, but apparently it's the first direct deal, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And that's
They were working through Panasonic, I believe.
Yeah, and that might have been one of the partners or something. It was, and so it was this other party that was making sure that QNX was in on the platform that went into the vehicle, as opposed to Ford dealing directly with BlackBerry, which is what they're doing now, and is, I guess, a legitimate first with no middleman. So it'll be really interesting to see what they come out with, because let's face it, the Panasonics of this planet will have had some kind of agenda or a list of things that they needed to get done. And that's what they were going to be offering Ford and putting in those vehicles. Well, now Ford can ask for whatever they want directly from the manufacturer, which is QNX / BlackBerry, excuse me. And it's pretty much wide open. I mean, let's face it, autonomous cars are around the corner, if you want to call 5 or 10 years around the corner. In some cases, we're seeing things happen right now. The typical acronym that's thrown around is ADAS or ADAS, which is Advanced Driver.
I think it's advanced driver autonomous system or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right. That's right. Autonomous systems. And so that encompasses, I don't know, a good list of 15 or 20 things. Stuff like you're driving down the road and it's getting really noisy because it's raining now, and the system listens and provides some form of white noise and sort of makes it more quiet inside. Or we've all seen for the last, 5 or 8 years or whatever, that you can pull up to a parallel parking spot and let the car do it. Well, that's ADAS doing stuff like that. And we've seen commercials where cars are starting to drift from their lane and they get a warning. Well, that's ADAS. Radar and LiDAR and all of these things that an operating system has to handle inside the car. Well, all you're supposed to be doing is driving it, staying safe, and not killing anybody. So braking systems, right? We've seen those commercials too. You're backing out of your driveway and boom, the car puts on the brakes because there's something or somebody behind that you didn't see because you're driving an SUV and you're too tall or whatever. So those are the kinds of things that BlackBerry and / QNX and Ford get to work directly together on now, instead of going through a third party with their own agenda. And I would not be shocked in any way, shape, or form for it to go beyond that into autonomous vehicle plans. Don't have a clue what Ford has planned for that, but every vehicle manufacturer at least has has a boardroom full of people discussing, should they be in it, why they should be, or what their plans are, depending on how advanced it is. Tesla's almost all the way there. Uber's in it. It's everywhere. It is going to happen. So.
Well, I do know that I read somewhere that Ford is already looking to accelerate into the autonomous car driving part of the business. So with QNX being there, I think that's awesome, and I really don't think that people understand, actually grasp how enormous that this is for BlackBerry to be involved in something like this, and for what QNX can actually do and what the software is actually capable of. I mean, I speak to certain people I'm on different websites, and I try to tell people about it, and they really just can't grasp the concept of how big QNX is and what it encompasses. And I mean, people are not even aware that it has something to do with turning on lights or how deep QNX is in the medical field. People just don't understand what
No.
so much of what that technology is involved in, and what BlackBerry does with that technology and what it takes part of. It's really a good thing, and I'm looking forward to autonomous driving cars, but let's just hope it doesn't slip into Terminator territory, and then we get Skynet and all that other stuff coming in.
Oh, look at us, bunch of geeks. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But in addition to that, absolutely, you're looking at stuff like BlackBerry's been starting to do with your handsets, and that is to update endpoints outside of the realm of the carrier, or in this case, the Fords and Chryslers and Toyotas of this planet. You should be able to have your car within Wi-Fi or a cellular signal, because lots of cars come with that now, and be able to get updates to your ADAS system, at home. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to let machines take care of things for you to the point where you don't necessarily have to have your hands on the wheel anymore, you better get updates outside of the dealership. That has to happen. So BlackBerry in the IoT space and being able to handle those things securely, I think is well, they can represent quite well to the Fords and the Chryslers and the Toyotas of this planet.
Exactly. I totally agree. Ian just posted on the live chat that he just recently got a Passport SE, and I can vouch for that. I've seen it, and now I want one myself. Getting a little off topic.
That's a beautiful phone.
Yes, that phone is, like Ian and I like to say, the Passport is boss, and definitely need to get my hands on that, on a Passport SE. That is a beautiful, beautiful phone.
Well, I don't have an SE, but the keyboard on my Passport is the best as far as I'm concerned. It's a little larger than some of the other ones out there, but I think that's probably why I like it. It's a unbelievably good phone.
Yes, I also noticed on the QNX website, when they have a list of at least 35 things that are ways that you interact with QNX/BlackBerry that you don't even realize it, and they actually mention the Passport. They call it the QNX powered BlackBerry Passport, which I thought was pretty good. It was a pretty good nod to the BlackBerry Passport and to BB10 in general.
Yeah, absolutely. No, QNX is running around everywhere, and when you flick the light on, they're talking about running nuclear power plants and things.
Yes.
They're talking about operating the space station. They're talking about, things that just are not allowed to go wrong. That's what QNX runs.
Yes.
And
that brings up a good topic too, because I saw this question. I think it was on a BBM channel. It may have been our own BBM channel, but people were asking and questioning, with the way that we're getting into the IoT now, because we actually are seeing inroads into the IoT. They're questioning why BlackBerry isn't there as far as home, because we're seeing, Apple has their HomeKit. We're seeing Google coming into the home. We're seeing what, Alexa is doing and the connection with all of the other home products. And I mean, that's kind of what we need to realize, is that BlackBerry is there with QNX. It's like, we don't know how many of these products are actually using QNX, but we know that those initial steps, like the cars, we know that there was a robotic vacuum cleaner. We know that there was, I believe it was a refrigerator. These are items that do use QNX, and it's not like something that is QNX branded, but it is the foundation of these products. And we don't know how many of these home products actually have QNX as that foundation, but we know that BlackBerry is ready for it with QNX. Will we see a BlackBerry branded device? I don't think that we will right now. I mean, BlackBerry is all about the software. I don't see a need for them to put out, a home assistant when they could very well be the underlying software that's making that work.
Yeah, I think
just like the infotainment systems in cars. I mean, think about that. Remember back, people, Google CarPlay, Apple Play, whatever it is in the cars, those run on top of QNX. They
Yes.
don't work without QNX.
Yes.
yeah, it's Google Auto and Apple CarPlay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's see. QNX fridges are cool. That was a bad joke. But I agree. Totally agree that I think BlackBerry / QNX is all about how things get connected together, and that transport layer, and maybe your thermostat running off of QNX is fine. It doesn't necessarily need to, as long as it's connected securely to where it needs to go. Because let us not forget that not too long ago there was a bunch of automated devices out there being used as bots to help bring certain sites and the internet down to its knees in certain areas. And it's part of that was because of the explosion of networked Ethernet connected devices, be they wireless or wired. So it's critical that you're either running a hardened operating system. It's critical that you change, default passwords to get into these things. And it's critical that their information is shared to its destination securely. And I think BlackBerry is well positioned with a global network to take care of things like that. Or something.
That is true. That's something pretty major to look at, is that last major hack that took down a good portion of the internet for a couple of days there, right? And that was done using those connected devices.
Yeah, they were the bots.
I mean, it wasn't people's computers as part of that bot. It was their connected devices. It was their IP cameras, and man. That's
so it's an example of how IoT is done wrong. You guys are doing it wrong. Go give Chen a call and ask how to do it right, and do that. Maybe it's $5 more. So what? Just do it.
Hey, here's something that wasn't on the docket tonight, but I think it's pretty important, especially this week. Huh?
I said, go ahead. I gave you permission.
Yeah. Well, I know Dave can speak to it. We laughed within our own group pretty heartily when Kia Investments over at Seeking Alpha tried to claim that there's no difference between BlackBerry Android security and regular Android security.
Yeah, I tortured
and
him.
Then, and I mean, it was a hearty laugh. We're like, look at this guy trying to make stuff up. And then I didn't start seeing a lot of comments, but there was a comment on one of our channel posts that was saying the same thing. And it's like, where in the world is this coming from? And then I think it was Sipo commented on one of our earlier videos, I believe, or maybe it was a post. I think it was my podcast, saying that there was a YouTuber that is somebody that is recognizable within the BlackBerry community. I think they used to be a BlackBerry fan and now they moved on. I'm not entirely sure, but I guess he had made a video saying the same exact thing. So this is like a rumor that's getting out there that is just not true. And I know that Dave can talk about, the software and hardware side as far as how BlackBerry Android differs from your typical run-of-the-mill Google Android. Right, Dave?
Before you say, Dave, that YouTuber is Jay Williams. I know exactly who it is. And he's the one that's been putting that out there, saying BlackBerry that Android and regular and that BlackBerry Android and regular Android is no difference in the security, and which is I don't want to curse, so it's complete hogwash. Complete hogwash.
I wasn't going to say his name either, Alpha. So, hey, good time.
Yeah, it's one of those videos where you still go, yeah, this is true. Was that? Yeah. You probably didn't hear it out loud. Yeah. Because that was my inside voice. But anyway, yeah. That's completely ridiculous. I don't understand how anybody who's even remotely in the know would what's your agenda saying that? Because it's completely false.
We know what their agenda is, so that they can turn around and say that, oh, well, this OnePlus or this Pixel is just as secure, which, by the way, the Pixel's already been rooted. It came out, what, like a week ago?
Yep.
Already rooted. How long have these people been trying to root the Priv? Still not rooted.
No, and there's a bounty out on it.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about signing keys between the software and the hardware. And I don't know, it was insinuated by this Kia guy that Apple has, I can't remember what his wording was, but I almost fell off my chair. They're the king of security and they have hardware and software signing and this and that and the other thing. And my response to that was then, why doesn't it work?
Yeah.
And then I listed 5 websites where you could go to root your, or what they call it, jailbreak, an iPhone. And I said, have you had enough? Because there's lots more, and again, everybody has to realize that there's a difference between security and privacy. And when we're talking about rooting a phone, we're talking about security, because if you can root a device, I don't care what anybody says, it's not secure. Is Lord only knows what you can do with it. With your Apple device, you can go to, what do they call it? Cydia is like another Apple's app store or whatever, only it's for rooted devices, jailbroken devices. Well, who the hell knows what's in there? That's ridiculous. It's like getting your Android apps from Pick a Place. There's a million of them. You're running a risk. That is not secure. So right off the bat, you lose. Sorry. And you cannot do that with any BlackBerry device known to man. There was a 1 week period or something where somebody actually successfully got into a playbook and rooted it with some form of success. It wasn't perfect, but it happened. And boom, that door got shut in a week or whatever it was. And since then, there has been no jailbreaking or rooting of any kind of BlackBerry device, whether it's BB10 or an Android variant.
And it's also important too to know that there was the quad rooter, and the BlackBerry Priv was affected by the quad rooter.
Yeah.
In fact, I bet the Verizon Priv still is, to be honest, because they're not getting the updates. But there was a period of time there where it was affected by this, and still it wasn't rooted.
Yeah,
it still wasn't rooted.
No.
Which, I mean, honestly, that goes on to say there was this week a Google security engineer that he was talking about, and the article I read was so twisted because he was saying, that, Android is just as secure as Apple now. Well, that's not something to be proud of, folks. But, at the same time, we know that there are far more vulnerabilities on iOS than there is on Android. And we also know that Google patches the vulnerabilities once they're found faster than Apple patches the vulnerabilities on iOS. So, I mean, that in itself should tell me that but Android is more secure than Apple. But even on those times so far that we've seen that the Priv has been affected by one of these vulnerabilities, it still wasn't rooted. I would have thought that would have been the first thing that happened once it came out that this quad rooter existed. But according to this Google engineer, there were no devices that
took advantage of it. Yeah, that's right. And one of the most hilarious arguments, and I've seen this from other I'll be polite, people, is that the reason, and I caught this Kia guy on this too. He said, well, the reason, you know, the BlackBerry's not been rooted is because nobody cares and nobody uses it. So
Baloney.
that's why it's not a target at all. And I'm going, well, oh, and then he also said, you know, well, Apple gets hacked because it's really popular. I said, well, wait a minute. You just told me it was the most secure thing on planet Earth. And then your next sentence is, it gets hacked. So, you know, you want to start again or or come back with a gun to the gunfight or something? This ain't working. Wow. So, you know, yeah, nobody wants to get into systems or devices that are being used in Fortune 500s and governments. And yeah, those aren't the targets. The real great targets are nudies from iCloud. Yeah, that's the holy grail right there. Yeah, idiot.
It's important too to know just because of BlackBerry's security reputation. I mean, we watched it. We went and read it when the proof came out. It was within hours that they started building this bounty to root it.
Yeah,
you know, that those that are involved in that, it was a challenge to them, and I don't think any of them really wanted to root it because they, you know, oh well, I want to add this to it, I want to add that to it. I think it was more a case of I want to be the one to hack into a BlackBerry.
The cache,
and it hasn't been done.
Yeah, there was one or two guys that were predicting, like boasting that they were going to have this done in short order. Thank you very much. And it's been a year, and they gave up.
Yeah.
But that's,
did that Justin Case ever give a reason why he gave up on hacking the BB10 devices?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I definitely remember that. And yeah, and he gave up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made a big show of going on Twitter that he went out and he bought, I think he bought, was it 2 Z10s he bought so that he could go hack them?
Yep.
And then that just kind of disappeared, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess he bought 2 just in case. Yeah. Could have just sent me the money, man. Could have saved you an awful lot of time. Oh, well.
So, hey, do we have anything else going on?
You stole my line.
Well, this could very well be the quickest blogcast we've ever had. There's got to be something else out there. Come on, folks. We ran through everything really fast. I think we spent more time trying to figure out if we were going to get on than what we were going to do once we got on. So is there a Verizon Priv update?
Oh, I don't know. I read at an alternate location that, well, from what I read, one guy got it, and it took him an hour and a half or whatever to download it or something, and it was successful, and he provided screenshots, and I think that's awesome. But it's sort of, and I don't know if somebody else got it or not, but it certainly isn't out to the masses. But if this guy is for real, and I don't have any reason to think otherwise, because I'm like that. I trust somebody until they are untrustworthy. So saying this guy got it, it just completely and utterly reminds me, and we all have heard or seen or read this story where some random guy on planet Earth gets a software upgrade for his BB10 device, and nobody else is getting it. And it's like, oh, wow, no, really, where are you? What carrier are you on? Oh, I remember one guy who was in the UK, and he was on Orange or something like that. He gets an update. And so now everybody's chomping at the bit. Wow, it must be next. It'll happen, imminently. Keep mashing that button, and that's kind of what's going on right now. But we don't really see any more fruit on the tree. It's just this guy or maybe one other guy. So it sort of kind of feels like that routine that we've seen over the last 3 years or whatever. And it's somehow, and let's just say if it's true, and again, I don't see any reason why it isn't, it is definitely on their servers. And so it could be imminent. It could be tomorrow. It could be 4 weeks from now. I don't know, because we've seen that before with these random BB10 upgrades. I've seen it be like that for weeks, or maybe just a few days. Can't tell. Judging by the speed at which they fly, I'm betting more on weeks.
Yeah, Verizon. I feel terrible for anybody on Verizon with a priv. I can't believe, like honestly, I mean, you all know when I got my priv, I was pretty disappointed with it, and you all know how much I love my priv now. And there's just a huge difference between when the priv was released and now. And like, I don't know how much of it is Marshmallow. I don't know how much of it is the updates to the BlackBerry apps, but I know that the phone I have right now, to me, is 100 times better than the phone I walked out of the store with.
Yeah, no
you
kidding.
know, and I just can't imagine if it's the Marshmallow update that was primarily the change. I can't imagine people still walking around, because the original priv, it just felt like an Android phone. You know, it did, and it felt totally Android. And the priv I have right now, it's missing the gestures, but I can use it as a BlackBerry, and that makes all the difference in the world to me. It really does.
100% agree.
I'm gonna give it equal weight as far as improvements go for the OS update and the apps update, and I'm going to give a slight edge to the apps updates, because that's where more of the productivity shows through. That allowed DTEC to be what it is now. The OS update allowed DTEC to be what it is now, and the app updates, especially to the hub with Pinch, and other improvements. It is triple, quadruple the phone that it was when it first came out. And I actually ended up doing a format of the device, I guess a couple weeks ago, and I found that gave me a much better battery life. Of course, being in the beta program does things to you. You get this, which maybe shouldn't have been released, because that's what you're all about. You're testing things, and you get that, and then you get the official release and whatnot. So it's been through the ringer, that thing. And a factory reset brought it to something I think that is great on battery life. It's fast, and it's just a great experience. So if anybody out there on a priv who's been through a bunch of updates or whatever, maybe you've installed a million apps and uninstalled them or whatever, take the time, try a factory reset, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, especially if your device is overheating or has lousy battery life. Do it.
Sir Leo says, don't forget Sprint. I have a sister stuck on that network with her trusty Q10. But that's a completely different situation, Leo. There are autoloaders for that. There's Blitz files for that. You grab your computer, you head over to your sister's house, and you update her. Do that now.
Yeah.
But
no, wait till after the podcast, then do that.
I gotta say though, with CDMA carriers, Verizon, Sprint, they totally just don't support BlackBerry handsets anymore. No. And I firmly believe that Sprint stopped carrying them. And I absolutely know that Sprint is not updating any BlackBerry handset, BB10 or otherwise, that's on their network right now. They have no Android BlackBerry handset. There are no plans for them to get a an Android-powered BlackBerry handset, and which is a shame. And you see what Verizon is doing with the Priv. They're not updating it. And for any BB10 handsets that are on Verizon, when 10.3.3 is released, I doubt those handsets will see the update as well. They just don't support BlackBerry handsets. And again, I'll harken back to this fool on a website that my good buddy Meanest Genius constantly battles with. He keeps saying, well, what if BlackBerry made universally unlocked handsets that had all the radios, including CDMA radios? And Meanest Genius keeps telling this guy, and I tend to agree, that first of all, if you have a universally unlocked handset and you want to bring it to a CDMA carrier, it has to be provisioned by the CDMA carrier. Since CDMA carriers do not support BlackBerry handsets, they won't do it. So it would make literally no sense for BlackBerry to make a universally unlocked handset that includes these radios if the handsets are not going to get updated and they're not going to get any security patches or software updates. It makes absolutely no sense for BlackBerry to do so, because they'll just block any attempt for the handset to get onto their network.
Yeah, it's no wonder that the DTEC 60 is shot BlackBerry and Amazon and whatnot. It's no surprise. It's unfortunate because there's still a lot of people that want to go to a store and do a touchy-feely, hands-on, do I like it kind of a thing. And then, but the way the world is headed is buying stuff online kind of thing. So I don't know. It's a tough row to hoe. I think it's good that they offered the DTEC 60 on Shop BlackBerry and get it out there, and it's just guaranteed, people. You get your software updates and you get your security updates and whatnot in a timely fashion every month, maybe more often if it's necessary. And I don't know, it's kind of the way to go, in my humble opinion.
And it's the same thing with the DTEC 50. It's also on shop offered on Shop BlackBerry and Amazon.com, and that is the way to go. And while the Priv was offered on some carriers, as you can see, the carrier route with the Priv, it wasn't for the BlackBerry doing these beta programs. I think the Priv would be suffering the same fate. I think every Priv will be suffering the same fate. Every carrier Priv will be suffering the same fate as the Verizon Priv with no updates.
Right.
So thank you, BlackBerry, for offering these beta program updates, because like today I just updated my my BlackBerry Priv with the November security patch, and that's a wonderful thing. And would we have seen that without the beta program? I don't think we would have. I think we'd be in the same situation as the Verizon Priv.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I kept mashing my my Priv update today, and I came up with nada. But I think maybe that's because I stole its identity with the DTEC 60. Like there's a transfer application, and when you boot up your DTEC 60, and it just asks you, are you coming from another device? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, hold this, the two phones back to back, and the magic will happen. So, I wanted to see the magic happen instead of do it manually for once. And although it took quite a damn while for it to happen, it sucked everything off of the Priv, including all of my Wi-Fi locations that I log into. So I'm kind of thinking that's why my Priv isn't getting the update, even though piles of people are. Because I think maybe it killed itself from the beta program.
I think that may exactly be it. I think that's exactly it. It stole its identity.
Yeah, I think the DTEC 60 sucked the Priv soul.
That may be the only way you get your identity stolen on a BlackBerry.
Right? Could be. I did it to myself. Oh, good. Yeah.
Hey, you want some fun news?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know how Vine is coming to an end. Twitter has laid off everybody that had anything to do with Vine, and they're in the process of shutting that down. People,
What's Tarzan going to do?
yeah, you know, he'll have to swing somewhere else, different key party. The people kind of commented on my post about it, saying that I sounded kind of happy about it, and in all honesty, I kind of was, because Vine was one of those apps that wouldn't come over to BB10. And it just feels kind of good to know that, you know, BB10 outlasted Vine. And I know that
oh, there was a good app for that, wasn't it? Called Wine.
Yeah, Wine. I know there was a native app, because I actually said that in the post that we never got a native app. And we did get a native app. We got Wine, thanks to one of our awesome BB10 developers. But it still wasn't an official native app, is kind of what I intended, even though I didn't say that. But hey, Vine may have a chance to survive, because Pornhub has offered to buy it.
Oh my God. 6 seconds of what?
That's kind of what they said in their statement. They said that 6 seconds is more than enough time for a not safe for work video app.
Come on, man. You gotta be kidding me.
They wanted to move it from whatever it is now to a not safe for work app.
You've got to be kidding me. I didn't see that. Wow.
Totally serious.
Oh, God, that is hilarious.
So, you know, I wonder if those employees that got laid off from Wine are sitting there going, come on, Twitter, sell us. We've got a buyer.
Yeah.
You think they would really want to make that move from, you know, the Twitter Goliath to Pornhub? You know the difference between those two companies? One of them's making money.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one of them's sexy.
And it ain't Vine. It's definitely not Vine.
Oh my God.
Not
You
Twitter.
gotta be kidding. That's the funniest thing I've heard all week. I don't know, man. That's just 6 seconds. I can't get over that. I don't know how that works, but 6 seconds, I don't think the girls will like it. Ridiculous. Yeah. Good thing you can't see how red my cheeks are. That's just too funny, man. Oh, God. Good one. Oh, well.
Watercolor Gate. Watercolor Gate.
Yeah, the camera thing. I thought you said you didn't want to go there.
I don't want to go on a rampage about Apple this week. But it is news, because I mean, there's was there 800 engineers working on the Apple camera?
That was the comment I left on your blog piece.
Yeah.
They got 800 guys working on this, and gals. Let's be fair.
And I mean, they removed the earphone jack.
Right.
They removed the button. The only thing they really added to the new iPhone was a new camera
and more issues.
Yeah, more issues.
Had more issues.
And one of those issues is that camera that they are promoting beyond belief as how great it is, and you know, it's the second coming of cameras, is their users are complaining about it. You know, that if you go into the Apple forums and look it up, there is a huge group of people complaining that the new camera is giving a watercolor effect. It's losing detail. And you've got a couple people that are standing up for it, saying that, you know, Apple has always increased one of the settings to make better pictures, and this is what's doing it. But all these people are saying, look, my iPhone 6 had better pictures. Even my own iPhone 5 had better pictures. And when they take pictures in RAW format, the detail's there. If they're using like an external app, it's using the Apple camera app that's ending up giving them horrible pictures.
Yeah, it's like they got this kind of weird filter thing going on, and that's the way and that's the way you ought to do it.
Yeah,
Maybe they're coding it wrong.
Yeah, they're snapping it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's I just found it odd that the very item that really is the biggest point of the new iPhone is turning into more drama for Apple. And man, if you go into those forums, it's the actual Apple support forums. It's pretty amazing because you have a lot of people complaining, and like there was somebody, I'm assuming staff, I don't know if they have like moderators, I really don't know how they set up their forums, but one of the initial answers was, okay, it's like, hey, restart your phone, it's great, you'll love it, and they gave some iffy excuse for it. And then once that happened, all these other people started chiming in that, no, this is the issue, I'm having it too. And then there is nobody to be seen from Apple again. But the conversation's still going on.
Is it just me, or is your voice cracking up?
Yeah,
Right.
I've noticed it too. Just on that little bit of a rampage.
Go on.
I think Tim Cook has got his hooks in your computer.
Yeah, I'm being censored.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen any more reviews about the D-Tech 60? Reviews about the phone, reviews about the camera. I haven't seen any more that I haven't already seen anyway. And no really in-depth reviews as of yet, which I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. But I haven't seen any
I know
around
there's
the web.
people there. I saw one guy, Exosense, or I forget what his name is, on YouTube, and he's given himself a 30-day challenge, and he's tried the Pixel, and he's tried the iPhone, and he's done this and that. I don't even know this guy, but he's coming off of those things, and he's given himself a 30-day challenge on the D-Tech 60. But all I saw was the initial thing, and I haven't seen anything since. I haven't seen any real long-term things, and maybe that speaks to how long even the early birds, people unlike me, who again went out and bought one on launch day, I haven't seen any long-term reviews which would speak to things like camera quality. Because let's face it, you need to take a whole pile of pictures and scrutinize them compared to other devices and whatnot, and those things take a hell of a lot of time. And battery, well, you need to let your device settle in properly, and you need to get into a routine with it and stop being such a fiddling around with it every millisecond to go find another setting and do this other thing like geeks like me do before you sort of start using it normally, and it's in your shirt pocket or on your desk or whatever it is, and it's in your normal routine. You don't really understand how the battery acts when you're just doing things normally instead of discovering things. So I guess maybe that just hasn't happened yet. You see a whole pile of reviews out there that are not dissimilar to what I did or whatever, which wasn't a review. It was just a comparison. But, it's just, it'll come. It'll probably start happening this next week, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. People just haven't had it long enough. And it makes me wonder how long the early birds have had their devices for. Because it seems like in the past BlackBerry 10 days, people had it for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something before it got let out to the public. And this just doesn't feel that way to me. Feels like maybe it was a week or a few days or a couple days. I don't know.
So the important thing is I haven't seen any real negative reviews. Everything's
good point. Good point.
Real positive.
Yeah. No,
And I mean, that's a first for BlackBerry. Even on the absolutely great phones like the Passport, you know, you get that Wall Street Journal woman throwing a slice of cheese on it, and it's like people have like a personal attack on BlackBerry.
It's a
and
vendetta.
I'm not seeing that with the D60. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, something to prove or whatever it is. There's it. People, you know, like that Kia guy we were beating up on. BlackBerry could drive up to his place with a sack of $1 million worth of pennies, and he'd hate it.
Yeah,
he'd hate it because he'd have to roll them, but he'd have $1 million, but he'd still hate it. So it doesn't matter what some people do; it just doesn't matter. They're going to hate it. Maybe we should upgrade you to nickels, dude. Get a life.
well, those were my additions to it.
Are we at that point of the evening?
Wayno just showed up, so yeah,
depends on what you're talking about, but sure, okay.
Wow. Dave's never been known to say no to that question.
I think that means it is time to say goodnight.
Yeah, it's that time.
All right, well, Erica, give a tease. That sounds horrible.
You know, Brad, I've heard you say some stuff that shouldn't be on air, and guess what? That's another one.
Wow.
I think I will refrain, but thanks for the offer.
Wow. Hey, let's just say tune in next week because there is a very real possibility of having a guest. Right? Is that okay?
Well, we're all guests.
Yes. We'll let that go.
Okay.
But we'll let that go and nothing more.
That was the tease.
That's it.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Good night, like Sir Robin.